Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning. This is Loudmouth Radio. We're live on Tea Time, the Entrepreneur Academy. And today is always a great day to be on air. Today is April 25th, 2019, and we are live preparing for another amazing show. And we have a very special guest today that is going to enlighten us and have a great conversation about some things I'm sure a lot of us have questions about, curious about, and or have interest in, and may not know how to go about it. And our special guest, Janae Buchanan of SJB Investments, LLC of Atlanta, is our is our actual guest today. And she's a real estate investor, property manager, and a real estate agent who also has had the ability to be a social worker and an author. She's been invested in real estate since 2015. She's the proud owner of SJB Investments, LLC, a company that purchases and renovates abandoned properties in the metro Atlanta area. Now, for those who are just tuning into the show, I want you to know that our studio lines are open, and you can call in at 347-826-7520. And if you need to talk with us, one on your keypads, so that way that we know that you're asking to be requested to speak with us live on air. And we'll make sure to answer your name and let us know where you're calling from. So without further ado, I want to bring on our special guest who has been so diligent about coming on air with us today. And this is a rescheduled show from yesterday. So today is all that matters. Isn't that right, Janae? Welcome to Live on Radio,
yes.
honey.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome, darling. It has been a long time coming already. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So I know you heard me talking a little bit about some of the great things that you are and about, and I want to brag on you some more, but I said, okay, let me leave her a little something to tell somebody something. I want to tell all her business before they get to hear her voice. But, you know, it's awesome to have people that are doing things that are doing things and working diligently in a community, okay? Tell you, today has been one of those days where you're like, okay, I'm so ready for this show. I'm ready. I got up this morning, was ready to get on air for it. First thing this morning, 7 o'clock. And then you look, and, okay, it seems like the day's moving so slow, and then all of a sudden it speeds up, and you're like, oh, my God, we're getting ready to go on air. Where's Janae? Is she ready?
Oh, absolutely.
She's ready on air.
I have those days all the time, believe me.
And Janae, if you would, sweetheart, you know, I had the pleasure of coming across you in passing in the Henry County area, and I will tell my story a little bit, but I want to how we got to meet, but I want you to give an opportunity to speak in regards to just who you are, what you're doing, and how we're on air today, really featuring the SJB Investments company itself. So if you would just start out telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, and then we'll dive in a little deeper.
Absolutely. So my name is Janae Buchanan, and I am the proud owner of SJB Investments, LLC, where we basically look around in Atlanta and purchase the abandoned properties and renovate them. Our motto is rebuilding the community, and what better way to do that through housing and real estate. So in 2016, me and my business partner purchased our first property for $18,000. And people don't believe me when I say
Nice.
it, so I have to go on Zillow and show them, like, look, y'all, this is for real.
I know, right?
It's in the record. Because, you know, back in the day, unfortunately, with the recession and everything, all the property values just plummeted. And so I was working for a college at the time, and we noticed that there was, you know, not a lot of housing for our students. So me and my business partner got together and said, well, why don't we help our students by providing affordable housing for them? So we bought our first property for $18,000, 2-bed, 1-bath. And it was practically move-in ready. The only thing we had to fix was the roof. And we fully furnished it.
When was that? When was that you guys
we just had to.
$18,000?
We bought it for $18,000, and then we furnished the entire property. The only thing we had to fix was the roof because there was a leak. So we paid only $7,000 to fully furnish it, get the appliances in there, and fix the roof. So after that, we started marketing it to college students, and we were charging $700 per room. Now, mind you, they were saving a lot of money because on campus.
Two-bedroom? You said it was a two-bedroom or three at the time?
Two-bed. This property was a 2-bed, 1-bathroom. So we charged $700 for. No, we didn't convert it. We kept it the same. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So we did it. Yep. So we left it the same way it was. We provided washer and dryer, internet, cable, security for the students. And we charged them each $700 a room. And then after that, we bought 3 more student rental properties. 2 more student rental properties. And we were able to rent those out as well.
Right.
So, I mean, it's been a great opportunity for us, and the residual income has been amazing. And now we're learning that we can take the equity out of those properties and reinvest it and fix and flip other properties.
Nice, Janae. So the one you said is the one you paid $18,000. You bought it what year?
I bought it with what?
I said, what year did you say that you bought it?
We bought it for $18,000. Mhm.
No, what year did you buy it?
Oh, what year? We bought that in January 2016, and we just got it appraised last month, and it came in at $110,000.
That is so awesome. And the reason I know you were thinking I was asking the price, but I wanted to make sure you reiterated the time period that you bought that property, because a lot of people don't think that, you know, they would have thought, okay, well, she must have bought that during the recession when everything tanked and everything, you know, fell to the ground. But you're talking about just in the last few years. We're just in now 2019. And
right,
truly,
absolutely.
We started hitting a recovery period probably closer to 2012, while, you know, really and truly when President Obama was in office. He walked into that whole mess. But I would say by his first term, going into his second term, things have started to kind of level out a little bit.
Absolutely.
So you bought that first property. You're now looking at less than 3 years in full. It is already 5 times greater, you know, in regards to the investment itself. It has returned 5 times greater because now you already have an appraisal of over $100,000. But even before it got to the point of seasoning here, you've been getting $700. You've been getting $1,400 for that same space for 2.5 years, going on 3.
Mm-hmm. And the fourth property that we bought for $22,000, we just sold that one for $140,000, and we only put about $25,000 into that house in 2016. So the property values have definitely increased over the last 2.5, 3 years.
And Janae, where in the areas are you speaking of that the first property bought and the one you just mentioned? What areas are those in?
We purchased in the West End area next to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and next to the Atlanta West Side Beltline.
Okay, which neither one of those had matured enough at that point when you bought it, you know?
Correct. They've all increased in value.
Absolutely. So for you, you mentioned you were in school. What school were you in at the time?
I'm in school now at Georgia State for the commercial real estate program. But at the time, I was working full-time in student affairs as a resident director.
Awesome. See how important it is you have to pay attention. You know, a lot of times people think that there's no opportunities. There's always something going on that you can, leverage or try to learn, learn a system or learn a process. For you, prior to buying that property, did you own any property before that?
I did not. I came right out of the social work program at UGA at the University of Georgia. So when I first started working at the college, we noticed the price of the properties in the area, and we felt like that was our opportunity to start investing. So I wasn't in college at the time. I was actually working full-time and noticed the property values and how low they were. And I said, we have to get on this because there are new developments coming in the area. This is a perfect time to buy now.
Janae, I'm so proud of you, girl. I didn't even know you was like 60 days yet. And I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, girl, Janae, get on my shoulders. Come on, let's run. Let's go. Oh, my God, I'm so excited.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There's this meme on Facebook that is a picture. I think it's Taraji and Viola Davis. And it said, this is the reaction we all need to have when our friends and our sisters make it or they achieve something. Girl, Taraji's eyes was stuck out like a stork girl, and she was like, girl, come here. You can just see it all in her face. That's how I feel right now. Like,
oh, thank you. We appreciate it.
So, man, listen, it is so easy to hear the process, but people don't realize what it takes within the process. Now, let's talk about this, Janae. You just said, look, I paid $18,000. We put $7,000 in. We did this and did that, and now it's appraised at $120,000. Let's talk about the stuff that people really don't want to know about on the front end of this situation when they need to look at the whole big picture. Let's talk about some of the issues and some of the things that you've had to deal with from maintenance and some things you've encountered that may have been, challenges in regards to, not necessarily if it was the first property or the fifth property, but overall. Because as a real estate investor, which is what we're talking about right now, you have to be prepared for the what ifs. I know I talked to you the other day, and there were some things going on with a property. So if you would just kind of elaborate your experience of, taking those steps.
Yeah, so in the beginning, we were just doing student rentals. We bought 4 rental properties, I'll say 3 properties and 1 buy and hold. And then I decided to go into fixing and flipping. And, of course, everybody watches HGTV, and they're like, oh, my gosh, I want to flip a house. And it is great to flip a house, but you have to be mindful of the costs that are going to be associated with it. So I always tell clients and other, first-time investors, if this is your first time, you need to have access to capital, to some finances, just in case, there are some other things that need to be repaired that you were not aware of. So you can get all the home inspections in the world. You can get all the contractors in the world to come and check it out. But there might be other things that you might want to do, to upgrade it, to be able to, pay for it in the event that something happens and you're not prepared for it. So a lot of people are like, oh, I can just jump into it. I'm like, no, you want to go in there with somebody who can help you through the process.
Right, absolutely. And so in our world, in project management and real estate, the contingency fund, you got to have a contingency fund. You have to have.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's easy to say, oh, girl, I can go get a new stove, but it ain't easy to go get a new foundation. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, exactly. Yes. Can I tell you what happened with my property?
So we were looking, I thank God it's sold now. It's beautiful. When we were first going through the property, of course, we were like, oh, this project is only going to be about $70,000, right? Then they went through the house and they took up the floors, and the floors were completely damaged. Like, not the floors, the foundation was damaged. And so we ended up having to pay an additional $20,000 just to redo all of the floors and set up new foundational structure. So that was an unforeseen, repair that we didn't know was coming. I walked in the house. My bathroom was basically in the crawl space. It was on the floor. So I'm laughing at it now, but let me tell you, I bought that property. You said what?
Girl, I know you were laughing at that.
Oh no, I was upset. I was like, this is another $20,000 that we have to put into this property. But I mean, it was well worth it. I really enjoyed my first flip. Another real estate agent actually bought my house, which was amazing, which shows you how good we did, not to toot my own horn, but yeah, so, but no, really, it was a great flip.
Yes, ma'am. So, those were like really some really worst case scenarios. Let me go ahead and allow this caller to speak now, because if I don't, I'm going to get beat up. Hold on one second. Caller, you're live. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Jazzy, and I'm calling from Loudmouth Radio on the other side of the producer. I'm so excited. Like, I've been over.
I feel stalked.
Let me come on. I'm so excited because, one, I got an opportunity to meet you when you were having your initial discussion about the show, but I also got excited because from our side of the table and having our hand in redevelopment and property ownership and designing our own show and our own right off the market, seeing that first flip, we have got to post the picture of the first flip, because that house, I mean, seriously, it was like you sat down with interior designers, contractors, architects, and surveyed the area and said, this is the cuteness that needs to be in this area. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Thank you.
Gorgeous. And I always talk with producer Sonny about where I stand in development and in redesigning of an area, home, and so forth and so on. And you and Sonny are those visionaries that come in from the ground up. And occasionally I have that mindset. I usually have the mindset from the interiors and not in the area. I am not the visionary that says, you know what, this area right here, give it just a couple of more years. That's you and Sonny,
Right.
I'm that middle girl that goes, oh, girl, you see they brought in a Sprouts? Okay. Now.
That's my husband.
Now, boo-boo. I can go in and put that investment money in. So one of my many questions, I was like, oh, I got so many questions, and I think I'm probably going to have to wait to maybe like another time and have that. But some of the questions other people have as well is, how do you determine, you saw a need. We heard that, okay, it's not enough housing for students. Got that. That's a checkbox. I would have been the same way, right? But how do you determine, better go buy this property? Because there are several areas in the U.S. that have very inexpensive properties. You can buy them all day long, little to nothing, auction them up. People leave their properties because they can't maintain it. So it's stuff out there. But how do you, and I guess it's a crazy question, how do you kind of have the insight to say, I'm going to buy here and this is going to be a good place? Is it a feeling? Is it a dream? Did the spirit speak to you, or what?
Well, for me, it's all about due diligence, right? So I'm always driving through the neighborhoods to see what's going on that particular street or that particular community. So if I see a lot of renovations on a street, I'll look and say, okay, I will be able to use that as a comp, meaning that if they sold that property for $200,000, I'll be able to sell my house for at least that amount on that street. So, you know, that's the many ways that I'm able to do that. And like I said, doing my research, using the resources that we have available, even through Zillow and through the Georgia MLS, and looking to see what properties have been sold recently so that I can do my renovations and sell it for a similar price. I also look at new development. So like I was mentioning before, the West Side Beltline is an area that is very popular. And if you kind of look at Ponce City Market, just look at what has occurred over there. They have $750,000 townhomes. And I'm like, okay, that's a little, okay, absolutely ridiculous. So I'm like, well, what can I do in my community? Yeah, what can I do in my community to make it more affordable? Because the people in the West End area are not paying $750,000 for a townhome. So I try to, you know, purchase a property at a low price. I will negotiate it down as much as I can, still do quality work, of course, to these properties and sell them for an affordable price. So that's my mission, because I don't want to displace people because they can't afford it. You know, people have been living there forever, and for properties to just increase at that amount, I think is amazing at the same time, but we still need affordable housing in these different areas. So now, like, they're going to build the Beltline next to it's off of University Ave in the Pittsburgh, Atlanta community. So I would drive through those areas and see what properties can I purchase at a lower price, because they're usually just sitting there and abandoned. So I can find a way to, you know, purchase it at a lower price, do the beautiful renovations that we do with our tray ceilings and our decks and, you know, our little wine racks, you know, stuff like that. So make it look very nice and still, you know, provide an affordable price. So, yeah, that's what we do.
You know, Janae, the thing that's so funny, as you were speaking and you were talking about being displaced and affordability, you know, what's happening in Atlanta and a lot of major cities, even some of your smaller towns, gentrification is coming so rampant that people are not able to even, I don't even know if I want to say catch up, but they can't even stay up with the speed of things developing. And there has become this trend that, especially when you have a lot of attraction of major corporations, like Amazon was courting Atlanta and other cities. And so there was this huge rush to start developing, and you can't tell me that some of these communities are pre-exposing what they think is coming in, and they just start immediately doubling, tripling to push the market, you know, to force the market to come up to a level in which they want. Like some of these places, you can't even justify $400,000 and $500,000, and that's the West End right now. And on the sign, they say, I'm like, and I'm like, where are all these people? And, you know, the funny part about it is, I know a lot of people may not realize this, but the Asian market, the Chinese market, is the biggest buyers in U.S. real estate right now. They are the number one leading buying market of U.S. real estate. Let's let that sink in. So when you have, like, Hawaii, for instance, the average home over there is like $750,000. And most of those neighboring people in that area can't even afford to live there and buy their own native land. So yeah, like Jasmine saying, you'll find that they'll start moving to Las Vegas to where they can find more affordability. So for you, Janae, you're also a real estate agent. I know we've had this real estate investor statement and conversation, but you're also a real estate agent. Can you tell us how you got to the point of making that decision? Because you were a real estate investor first, correct?
Correct. Yes.
So if you would, share how you got to the real estate agent and what was your deciding factor to go that route?
Well, for me, I did start investing in 2016, and I remember trying to get so many people to join me in purchasing properties, but they didn't have the financing for it. And so I said, well, let me become a real estate agent and help people purchase investment properties and kind of do what I was doing so that they can create generational wealth for their family. So my goal was to, help other people, because so many people are like, Janae, I see you fixing and flipping all these houses. How can I help you? How can I get one? And I said, I'm giving them options like, oh, well, you can finance and you can do this and that, but they don't have the money to do it. So for me, I just felt like as a real estate agent, I would have more access to resources, to lenders, to appraisers, to architects to do their floor plans, that it only made sense for me to just do it fully so I can help people find the houses, whether they're a first-time home buyer or investor, and then help them through the process. Unfortunately, in our community, a lot of us are renting, and, even though I'm a real estate investor, I rent out to college students. I don't rent out to single family because I want my single families to live in a house, not rent. So for a college student, I'm still helping you save your money by charging you an affordable rate, definitely less than what you would be paying on campus. And then for single families, I'm helping you get in a house. I don't want to see you rent because you're just throwing that money to your landlord when I can find you a property for, a certain price, and it'll be less than what you're paying your landlord. And you get equity. Yes. And you get equity in it. And you can pass it down to your family in the event something happens to you. So those are the different things that I said I could do if I was a real estate agent instead of just an investor. And it brings more fulfillment knowing that I can do it holistically than just in parts as an investor.
Absolutely. Janae, we're going to take a quick commercial break, sweetheart. You just said a great mouthful, and I hope that anyone that hears this show from beginning to end is taking notes, because we're going to have a real conversation on here, guys. We'll be right back on Loudmouth Radio.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network. Insurance Associates Atlanta, formerly Mathis Insurance Services, is an independent agency offering personal, commercial, life, and health insurance products to meet the needs of your business and your family. We specialize in helping you protect all of your assets, whether you're purchasing insurance for the first time or searching for better products at a better price. Feel free to contact us at 770-483-0310. We're conveniently located at 1030 Remington Drive in Conyers, Georgia. Visit us online at insurance-iaa.com.
Ladies, are you looking for the next best find? Don Shea Shoutique will bring out your inner glam. The lady herself, Miss Don Shea, is dedicated to providing you with the latest in Hotlanta fashion footwear. It'll make you stand out at every event. In addition to our amazing prices, we are the go-to source for high fashion footwear. So stop by and shop online. We're sure to have the right shoes for you. www.donshay-shoes.com. That's www.donshay-shoes.com. Don Shay's is the only place you can go to still be sane and have a sure side.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.
Recent auto accident, back pain, neck pain, stress, headaches? Ewing Chiropractic can help.
Here at Ewing Chiropractic, our office utilizes an approach of pain relief measures for the treatment of auto accidents, slip and fall, sports, and on-the-job injuries, as well as acute and chronic pain. We can be reached at 678-586-3592 and located at 5459 North Henry Boulevard, TC in Stockbridge, Georgia. Healing the injured one spine at a time. We can be reached at ewingchiropractic.com.
All right, we're back from commercial break. And prior to our commercial break, our special guest, Ms. Janae, real estate investor, real estate agent. We're having a great conversation, definitely in regards to just how important it is to have the ability to make real estate investments, whether you're doing flipping, buying and holding, or investing in your own family, like she had said right before the commercial break. Then buying your family home and putting yourself in position to have equitable opportunity for future growth and future finances. So, Janae, thank you for holding. I know we were just talking, and you were just kind of highlighting how you started and the reasons you went from real estate investor and also became a real estate agent. So, for you now, how long have you been licensed as an agent?
I just started in December and have sold at least 6 properties already.
Girl, I need to put an applause. I got to get a little applause sound bite on that. Girl, I'm over here clapping for you. I promise you can see me. I'm clapping for you.
Thank
you.
For you,
Janae, you're doing this full time. You're managing properties that you have currently. What would you say to someone who is at a point where, and I've had this kind of resounding point of conversation and topic. There are some real estate agents who feel like they don't want to, or they feel like it's better that they don't maintain their licenses and just become real estate investors. What's your thought on that?
I mean, to each his own, absolutely. But for me, I just have a niche, and I feel like it works for me. If they want to just invest because they have the opportunities to, purchase the property and renovate them and do it on their own and not have to go through an agent because they are an agent, I think that, right. That's completely up to them, but I prefer to help anybody I can. So if you're a first-time home buyer, I would love to help you with down payment assistance and get you into that dream home. And if you're a first-time investor, or even a seasoned investor, I would love to help you, as well with that. I've run into some just who got their license so they can be an investor, and, that works for them. Right. So, I mean, some people don't have,
I think it's a twofold.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You said some people don't have what, honey?
And I was just going to say that's their personal preference, so
right.
To each his own, honestly.
Absolutely. So for you, what areas, do you have specific areas that you focus in, or that farm areas that you target primarily more than others?
As an investor, yeah. So anything next to the Beltline and to new developments is where I look, because like I said, the areas right now that unfortunately where people are being displaced, I want to be able to rebuild that abandoned property and make it affordable for someone to move into. So anytime I go into a neighborhood, I'm getting to know the neighbors, I'm getting to know the people in the area, and if they rent, I'm even talking to them about, let's get your credit repair up so I can find you a house so you can stop renting from your landlord. You see me building this house, but I can put you in a house.
Right, and this is the part, the other part of the challenge, the other part of the equation is that also the credit side is a big factor. There's, multiple levels of education processing that's happening here, and the financial literacy is one of the biggest shortfalls, and it's at a point where I actually have seen most commonly, most recently, that there has become a revamp of what used to happen in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, when some communities were stirring people away because of their race. There was intentional things that were being done to deter, certain nationalities or class of people coming into an area, and
right.
The laws that have been enacted for consumer laws and fair housing, and we all know those things are in place, but very much still that this is still happening, and excuse me, and it's so prevalent. So like when you're saying like the West End, for those who may not know what the Beltline is, initially this project was developed to revamp and renovate areas like Janae is speaking of, where homes had become, lower values. A lot of them were abandoned, was not as manicured as some of the areas that may be a little more posh in the city. So initially, the city of Atlanta was heavily backing the Beltline to be affordable housing, right? Somewhere in the last 6-7 years, that affordability has now become an average of, like we were saying, 400,000, 500,000, 600,000 easily, right?
Right, and that is not affordable.
And that's not affordable. And so, the other part of this that becomes a question too is because that, to find these properties is not the easiest thing, right?
Right.
And just like what you're saying, there's other people with the same rationale of thought. So you're competing with other people who are also trying to buy into these areas. And so here you have Janae and SJB Investments that's saying, look, I want to buy this property. I might have bought it for $20,000, $30,000. And we put $40,000 or $50,000 in it, and then the property improves, and now it can be a livable 3-bedroom, 2-bath for a family.
Right.
And what's so important about the work you're doing too, Janae, is that the other factor is that once those values of those houses increase, that also means that the tax amounts are going to change and differentiate.
Right.
So in the development side of it, what you're doing is so important because it's not like you're trying to take people on a ride and blow them out, by putting them something they just really can't afford. That's still very much happening. Just because you get approved for $200,000 does not mean you need to buy at the top of that amount.
Absolutely.
Right? So
even for absolutely.
Ooh. Yeah, so and like you said, the student housing, same thing. The scholastic side of education is so far beyond that some of the schools' tuition, not even counting room and board, is so significant. So to be able to provide housing like you have. And you also did something, too, that was very important that needs to be spoken on. If you would, Janae, speaking of students and teaching, would you share with our listening audience about your that you published and how you came about doing that? Yes, please.
Yes. So a lot of people don't know about the field Student Affairs, basically, which is in higher education. So when you're working for a college, even in undergraduate school, you can become what is called a resident assistant, where basically you are the mentor for the residents on your hall or on your floor. So as an RA, and this is what I always tell high school seniors, when you get to college, apply for the RA position, because they will, especially at a public school, they will give you free housing and free meals and a stipend on a monthly basis. And through this position, you develop so many leadership skills. And the great part about that is it doesn't stop. Yeah, because, you are the mentor. You're helping everybody with their issues, transitioning from high school to college. And even when you're done with that, you can go on and be a resident director, where you now manage the actual residence hall or the dorm room is what they call it. We don't call it dorm. We call it residence hall. But as a resident right now, right? Yes, because the dorm is where it's just all dreary and blah, blah, blah. A residence hall is where you live and where you thrive. And so the route that I took was I became a resident director where they pay for your housing, so you live on campus for free. You get to eat for free, and then you also get a salary. So not just a stipend, but an actual salary. But you are responsible for taking care of that hall. And so I was also a graduate resident at UGA, and my master's degree was only $100 because I was a graduate assistant. So there are different opportunities out there. Yes. My tuition was $25.
Because mine was $100,000.
No, $100. 100. Because you are working today. Because you're working.
I want my money. I want my money. Y'all owe me back.
A lot of people say that. No, it was $100. Yes, because I worked for housing, and there at UGA, we lived there for free. We were able to eat there for free, and our stipend was $1,100 a month. And I was able to do a study abroad trip to Africa, and my tuition was still $25. So there are ways around it.
Hey, I didn't study abroad there. Mine was $500. I want my money back. Hold on. Somebody better call. The neighbors on my home. It was roommates. Somebody overcharged me home. I'm telling you. I mean, damn.
Oh, yes. I know. So, of course, that was just the tuition. Of course, you had to pay for your flight to get there and for your own vaccinations and other personal stuff. But my tuition was still $25. So I always tell people, I didn't take the route of, doing the 9 to 5 per se. The traditional route. But I always tell, even my younger sisters, I'm like, hey, y'all, I'm not saying follow my path. I'm just saying that this may help you.
Put you up on game. I'm just saying. And it's so funny because now you talking, girl. I remember all my little residents and sisters. They used to be on the hall. They used to be like, hey, so now you like, hey, y'all, what's up? But
and you could have been an RA.
God knows.
Yeah.
I was playing basketball, and so I did have a different route. I was blessed. My housing was incorporated in my stuff too. Now it was the after.
See, there you go.
It's a gradual level. I lost my mind, girl. That's what it got.
Right. It got real expensive.
I got these two masters. Everybody, we're gonna give it to you, but we're gonna give it to you. I was like, okay.
But it's possible. Yeah, I tell people all the time, apply for graduate assistantships, and you can get your tuition waived as low as $25, depending on which department and depending on the school.
And see, I swear I think that your book needs to be a given freshman orientation manual. Like, here. Like, these are the things that you're not going to be told, Even the parents, parents don't know. They don't have, a lot of, especially a lot of our black and brown children, a lot of our youth are first generations. I was the first generation to go to college away from home. You know what I mean?
Wow. Right.
And so when you're going away, it's a big difference when you stay in state. The cost factors, the things that you need, the support that you need, the systems in place, totally different. And so not only that, Janae, but you're also imparting and setting them up for a higher level of financial literacy coming out of college without having a huge amount of debt. And you're having savings. That doesn't really happen. Let's be real. The likeliness for the average student to have that is not very common.
Right.
And then two, I'm gonna tell you what also is amazing, Janae. Having those principalities of a resident assistant, becoming a resident director, you were already walking in the path of landlord and ownership. You know what I'm saying? You were already starting the pre-seasoning of what you're now doing, which is amazing.
Right. Building that, bridging the gap is what we call it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Even though you may not even recognize where you were going to go with it. I'm extremely proud of you. And now you're in school, with the commercial real estate, which is amazing because I have my real estate license in Florida. I haven't licensed in Georgia yet. But, like most of us, I went through the school process there. And you're aware that, people, that there is a real estate degree path that some schools do offer. But the commercial real estate side, that's truly high development. I mean, you're already taking those steps of one of the things that I love, which is development, renovation, revitalization. So important. And Janae, you're under 35. Correct.
Yes, I'm 29. I just turned 29 in February.
I'm so proud of you. So
Thank you.
You're under 30. What is so important at this point for you? I know you're doing a lot of things. You're investing in yourself with the education aspect. What's 2 or 3 goals for yourself from this point now that you have not achieved that you'd like to see
that's a
come
good
to
question.
fruition?
So right now, because of my background in student affairs, I would love to develop my own student housing apartments. That's why I joined commercial real estate because, that's what I'm used to. That's just what I know. So I feel like providing that affordability for college students and kind of running it my own way. I was thinking the other day, like how I would go from managing student housing to now buying and owning student housing. Yeah, because it's not just about managing it anymore. It's about creating that generational wealth for you and your family. So I'm like, if I can help college campuses through privatized student housing and help them develop more and, give more opportunities to college students, then why not? And the reason I approach students is because we know when college students come out of college, they are in so much debt. I mean, it's just alarming. Oh, yes. And then when you get done, with undergrad, you either go to a master's program or you go into corporate or the real world, and you're still trying to pay off all of this debt, and it becomes overwhelming. Yeah, it becomes overwhelming.
Right.
So for me, it's just
countries that we do that to our folks, and it's so like you like I have had the international experience. If you go to Europe, like France or London, there is no college tuition. These are astronomical costs to attend college, and it's sad because this is the country's leaders that you're already oppressing before they even get an opportunity to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's a trap. It's like a big trap. And I think what you're doing is so important. I know I interrupted, so that was one goal. What's another goal? Give me at least 1 or 2 more.
Okay, another goal, I love to travel. I've been to Australia, Africa. We got married in Cancun. I am really looking forward to building a resort in, I don't know where yet. I'm going to get there, though. I haven't pinpointed a place, but eventually I would like to do an all-inclusive resort.
Yes. I'm with you on that, sis. Keep me posted. Let's do it.
I sure will.
Oh, my God. And see, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, y'all heard it loud. We on the radio. It's April 25th, 2019. I don't care if you hear this 5 years from now. you are witnesses to me telling Janae I said we was gonna do this. So she tried to act shady, act like she don't know me, and she act like she don't. I'm like, girl, I got my settlement money. Come back over here. Come back over here. I got my pre-settlement money for these down payments we got to do.
There you go.
I got it. What you doing?
Yeah.
Janae, that is awesome. Now I push the envelope. Do you have a third one you want to put out there? Because this is manifestation work. This is how we get the metaphysical started. So,
I do want to become a broker. So, right now I'm an agent, and I'll have to do this for the next 3 years because I would love to mentor and help other agents build their business and, create more generational wealth for our family. That's just my goal in life, is that when my kids get here, they don't have to struggle. They will know the meaning of hard work. Mommy and Daddy are not just giving you whatever you want. No, you have to put the work in. But I just want to, create that generational wealth for my family and others. So,
well, honey, you're well on your way, and I commend you. I think that it has to happen. We just have to start, It's not that fear won't be there. It's not that intimidation sometimes won't be there. And what you don't know, there's somebody that does,
Right.
What I'm coming to I'm coming to my own point of reference, Janae, when it comes to collaborating. The one thing I love about real estate is that there's always enough out here for anybody. And it's a win-win, So naturally to me, my thought is let's network, because even if I have a listing and you have a buyer, we both are going to have opportunity to win on it, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
collaboration and networking.
Collaboration, networking. Straight up get your Legos and some Lincoln Logs and building blocks. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
I think yes. I think honestly, I want to ask you this question. I have a taken thought of it. I know that you just started at 16. I used to work with a lot of different investors right before the bubble and after the burst of the recession hit. Atlanta went through a huge dip, because Atlanta was always one of those markets where real estate was a prevalent part of the economy. So after the 2008 recession, there was a big transition that took place, because prior to that, honey, everybody was a real estate agent. Almost 1 out of every 10 people you would meet, really, probably was 2 out of every 10, was a real estate agent. And, everybody knows it was not a secret. Atlanta was a large hub for predatory lending. There's still some of us out here that are still predicating through that situation, even from 10 and 12 years before. And so I recognize, and I can remember in Florida and Georgia, which were those two were big markets, California, where people were building so fast. And I remember the institutions were lending 2 and 3 times the values of some properties. People were taking 150% of the equity out of the properties and stuff like that, which, you got to be safe with, But I can remember seeing the sequence, and then when that crash happened, it hit like a bullet. I do feel like we are on a trend to where we may hit another tipping point. I do feel like we're at a point where the values of some of the properties are just, like how you said, you got 750,000, right? Some things you're just not even justifying. Right. And so as an investor, as a real estate agent, even a buyer, even a seller, you have to pay attention to the things that's going on in the market. And I think, Janae, what I love about what you said and what you've been doing is you have to buy right. Right. Number one, you have to buy right. And in buying right, like Janae said, you want to get comps. You want to evaluate the neighborhood and the areas and look for pricing and things that are being sold. So for you, Janae, what do you feel? Do you feel, one, that we are going to hit another burst when it comes to real estate, the sales sides of things? Do you think we're going to hit that tipping point when we come back down and hit again? Maybe not as big as the 2008 recession, but do you think we're going to hit another tip like that within the next couple of years?
Even in our commercial real estate class, we talk about this all the time, that real estate is, goes in cycles, and every 9 years, expect a dip. But for me, I feel like even if, something did happen, that would be a great opportunity for someone to buy. So we bought our property at $18,000. So for us, that was the perfect time to buy. So for other people who may not have the funds right now, you may have them later on. And I'll tell you this, with real estate, I feel like you cannot go wrong with real estate if you do it the right way.
At all.
So college students, college students are always going to need a place to stay.
That's right.
Period.
Anybody's
and they prefer
have that somewhere to live.
Of course. But the reason I say college students is because I'm trying to get single families into a house, not renting. So for us, everybody's always going to So for us, everybody's always going to need a place to stay. But the way that our business strategy is that we provide affordable student housing. So for us, a student is always going to pick living with us versus on campus because it's just too expensive to live on campus. So if you strategize it correct, definitely a lot more freedom. You don't have to worry about quiet hours and my neighbor said this and this and that. You have your own bathroom that you can. You don't have to do a community bathroom. All these different things. So for us, somebody's always going to need a place to live. We cater to students, and we know that this is going to always be a situation where our houses will always be full. So, I think even if there's a dip, you can still get in there when the prices are lower and make the best of it.
Absolutely.
Oh, another thing I was going to say. Tax sale liens. A lot of people don't know about tax sale liens. So there are a lot of abandoned properties where people have not paid, the taxes on these abandoned properties, and you might not be able to afford $65,000 for a house, but you might have $10,000 that you can pay on the delinquent taxes. So there's always room, and you won't believe this, Sonny. We just bought a commercial lot for $1,097 through a tax sale lien. $1,097.
I ain't got no words.
I'm just saying.
I thought I liked it.
So you might not have tons. Look, you might not have tons of money. I didn't say give me $30,000. I said $1,097 for a commercial lot that they haven't paid the taxes on it in over 7 years. So now we're buying commercial lots so that we can go and build affordable housing on those lots. I'm not paying
I love it, honey.
$100,000s of dollars for it. You know what I mean? So you just got to know the right people. You got to do your research. Yes.
Absolutely. Is it in the metro area? That's awesome.
Yes, it is.
I'm going to talk about you when we get off the phone. We're going to have a conversation on the side. But time is just. But you know what? It's opportunity, and you got to be ready.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you don't have to have a bunch of money.
No, exactly. But have the willingness to be prepared.
Correct.
I love it. Now, have you guys already closed on it and purchased that?
So with the tax sale liens, it's a little bit different where you have to wait. You have to reach out to the owner of the property And like I said, we do abandoned stuff. We don't do buy tax sale liens on people that are living in their house, because I think that's just absolutely foul. So we look for abandoned properties, abandoned lots, because we eventually want to do affordable housing. And what better way to do that than purchase the tax sale lien and then eventually have ownership of it? So,
well, if you would, sweetheart, elaborate on just kind of like how that process takes place. With the, the tax part of it.
Yeah. So for tax sale liens, I basically, like I told you before, drive through the neighborhoods and look at the abandoned properties. So as I'm driving through, I'll look it up because it's public record of property taxes. So if I go online to QPublicNet is the website for Atlanta. I don't know what it is for other states, but QPublicNet is where you can go and look at the taxes to see if they've been paid. So as I'm driving through, I look it up. I'll say, okay, they haven't paid the taxes on this abandoned property in 7+ years. Okay, I'm going to contact the city of Atlanta, see what the payoff amount is, and if it's eligible for me to pay the tax sale lien on it. And if it's within my budget and it's a good deal, I'll do the tax sale lien. Now, this is the catch. You have to wait a year and a day for the tax sale lien. However, when you contact that owner and they don't want the property, you can say, hey, I'll pay you whatever amount to get you to transfer this property into my name. And if they say, okay, you have ownership of you can do the quick claim deed and transfer ownership into your name.
There's no wait.
Yeah, and there's no wait. But if they don't get back to you in a year, if they do want to pay the taxes, then they have to pay you interest on that. And it can be up to 20%. So it's a win-win situation for you either way. You're either going to get the interest on the taxes or you're going to get ownership of the property. So like I said, we only go through, I want to make this clear because I don't want nobody saying Janae's taking people out of their houses. No. This is abandoned properties that have been sitting for years, and it's just an eyesore in the community, and it's bringing the property values down.
Right, and you can always pinpoint them and see them. You know, they probably got really high bushes, windows, roof.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Dilapidated. So there's many. There's many. It's just it takes work. You know, you have to be diligent, and you have to be willing to be patient and work the process. And I think that's the biggest thing that people fall short on.
Right.
So for you, sweetheart, what's your next year look like?
My next year looks like student housing. So I'm about to flip 2 properties. Both properties I found for $65,000. One property needs less than $15,000 worth of renovations, and the other one needs a little bit more work. But after I flip these 2, just a little bit more work. It's a little touched. So after we flip these 2 properties, I'm trying to go into commercial real estate, where I want to go ahead and purchase some land and do some multifamily housing. And it probably won't be in the Weston area. I'm looking in other areas because it's just so expensive in the Weston right now. Just to build may be too much. So I'm looking in other areas outside, not too far, but because we know people are going to be displaced, right? We just know it's going to happen. So if I can have an affordable housing in an area that's not that far, from the Weston, where they can still be near, I can still have affordable housing for people who will be displaced.
I love it.
Thank you.
I think that, it's about just having intention and sticking with the intention and seeing it through. And, things like our meeting happened. So I said I was going to wait. I wanted to allow you to really just kind of shine on the aspect of just all the things that you're doing. And I had the pleasure of meeting Janae. I was actually out, and I think I had left a meeting and came up to the stoplight, and Janae was literally sitting next to me in her car, and she had her magnet on her car. I thought real estate, that's all it took. And I was like, ooh. So I started dialing her. Janae's on the phone with her clients. She's actually trying to go and take them to a showing. So I'm talking to her on the other phone like, hey, hi. I'm like, I'm right here. You see me? And we exchanged numbers. Oh, my God, it was so funny. We exchanged numbers. Actually, I know I actually told you about a property, a subdivision check out to try to see if something could match up to what you guys were looking for. And nonetheless,
right.
Later that afternoon, a few hours later, we spoke, and I got an opportunity to find out. And I knew you were amazing just from our first initial conversation, and I was like, this is so awesome.
Thank you.
To go from there to have this conversation with you right now, it was never, ever a disappointment. And I'm so glad that I called you and you took the time to talk to me, because now more people in the world get to know the greatness of Janae and what you're doing. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
Hey, I love it. I can tell you that, when you meet amazing people and they just have this great aura about them and this great air about them, you let them know. And especially our young folks, we got to really, really, really impart and let, it's nothing wrong. We're quick to tell people the negatives, but we don't hear enough of the positives,
Right.
So it was, Jasmine and I, we had a complete moment of pleasure spending time with you and talking with you when we met up after that initial conversation. And even today, I'm so glad that we could take this time to open you up and pick your brain and let you share just the things that you're doing and why people want to connect to you and also partner up with SJB Investments. And Janae, if you would share your social media handles, how they can contact you, just all that good stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, so my website is www.janaybuchan.com. That's JANAYBOUCAN.com. I also have an Instagram, Janae ATL Realtor. The same for Twitter. I also have LinkedIn, and I also have a Facebook page. So please go out there and check them out. So if you want to see the recent fix and flip I did on Gardenia, you won't even think it's the same property. But yes, check it out.
Oh my God,
yeah, that duplex conversion to a single family house was amazing. And you can also reach me on my cell at 404-859-5703. And my email address, janaybuchan@gmail.com.
Janae, thank you so much, darling. What closing remarks would you like to make? And after that, I'll just wrap it on up, because this has just been an amazing show all the way through. I know Dad's fussing at me. Stop saying amazing all the time. I'm sorry. You're correct. This has been a thorough educational experience. And so, if you would, share what you would like to leave off with.
So, I would say that it's important to create generational wealth for your family. Go ahead and get that credit score up, because that's important for you to do anything in life. And to all my high school seniors and college students, please take a look at my book, because I can save you so much money. Remember, $100 for a master's degree. You can't beat it. So check that book out, A Guide to Living Mortgage and Rent Free. That's out on Amazon, Kindle edition, and paperback. So check it out, leave some feedback, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Janae. God bless you too, sweetheart. Thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us today on Loudmouth Radio. And we hope that the Tea Time piece will just open you up to some more great partnerships and connections and clients. And if you do business with Janae, you're going to do it the right way. So I love it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janae. You have a good one, darling.
You too. Bye-bye.
You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.
On a tight budget, find local savings on loudmouth.com. Find great
Sonny and Jazzy of Loudmouth TV is taking off with a brand new show, Off the Market, with its first season within the beautiful state of Hawaii, featuring some of the most sought-after areas of beachfront and inner island properties on the island of Maui and Oahu. Tune in to each episode with host Jazzy Jones-Smith as she talks to featured real estate agents as they showcase their open house listings to private homeowner tours where you just might find a house that you may want to take off the market. You're listening to the Loudmouth Radio Network.